What's going on, you guys? So next week we have UFC 245, December 14th. There's a lot of fights coming on that day. A lot of fights this weekend as well. But yeah, UFC 245, Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington. The main event is a title fight, welterweight title fight is finally happening. And then we got the Max Holloway versus Alexander Volkanovski, the featherweight title fight. And then we got the women's bantamweight title fight between Amanda the Lioness Nunes versus Germaine de Randamie. They should all be great fights. Should all be good fights. And then we got another fight that I'm going to be talking about in this video. Jose Aldo versus Marlon Moraes. Jose Aldo is now 28-5. Regarded as one of the greatest featherweights of all time. He's a surefire Hall of Famer in the UFC. Just the King of Rio, CEO of Famous Burgers. Jose Aldo is the man down there in Brazil. And he's going up against his fellow Brazilian who now resides in America, Marlon Moraes. He is 22-6 with 1. And he's looking to get back in the win column against a win over Jose Aldo. His loss is to the champion, Henry Triple C Cejudo. I think it was a 4th-round TKO stoppage. It was a competitive fight until that, to the end, basically. But nonetheless, man, Marlon Moraes was going into that fight with a lot of momentum. He was on a little streak. He was running through guys. Marlon Moraes was one of the top fighters in Bellator before making the jump to the UFC. I've always been a fan of Marlon Moraes ever since he was in Bellator. And watching him back in Bellator, I always said, why is this guy in Bellator? No disrespect to the Bellator guys, but that's the B league compared to the UFC. Let's just be honest, people. It's a lot where a lot of the veteran fighters go who may be past their prime, who still got the itch to fight. But not to say that some of those guys can come into the UFC and make some noise, but Marlon Moraes is one of those guys. He eventually ended up in the UFC like I predicted that he should have been. And he fought for a title against Cejudo, came up short. Now he's fighting Jose Aldo. They used to be teammates back in the day. Jose Aldo said he can't hardly remember any key sessions that they had. It was been so long. Brazilians tend to not really want to fight each other a lot, but Jose Aldo said he's been living in America. He's not, but anyways, it should be a good fight. This Jose Aldo's bantamweight debut. Jose Aldo for the longest time been one of the longest reigning featherweight champions until he ran into guys like Max Holloway, Conor McGregor. And it's just that it seemed like once Conor McGregor came to the fray, that was the end of Jose Aldo's run, literally. These guys are just too big. Guys like Conor McGregor is fighting at welterweight, and you hear guys like Volkanovski who's walking around at 200 pounds. Rumor, that's what I heard. Max Holloway's a pretty big guy. Maybe too small for the lightweights right now, but he's big. He's a big featherweight. Then you got guys like Zabit, who's like 6'1". So these guys are just getting too big for guys like Jose Aldo and Frankie Edgar, who's also moving down to bantamweight. Some of the bantamweight fighters like Aljamain Sterling is pretty upset with the fact that guys like Aldo and Frankie Edgar, former champions, former guys who put in the work, coming down and cutting line. He said he's been putting in work in his division. He felt like he was just on a roll. He wanted to get his shot, but Jose Aldo and Frankie Edgar happened. So he's pretty upset about it. And Jose Aldo addressed it, saying like, "Look, man, we've been around for a while. We former champions, me and Frankie. We're gonna get a head start if we want to choose to go to another weight class. We're gonna get a head start, and that's just what it is. And it's like that for almost any walks of life or any job. You're a veteran, you put in the work, you still got some of that fire in you. If you're an athlete or if you're just a regular blue collar working man or a white collar guy, if you put in the work at your job, you tend to get the privileges and the perks and that's just what it is. So Aljamain Sterling just continues doing this thing, keeps winning, staying consistent, staying in shape, staying motivated. His time will come. He's a young guy. He will have his day. But nonetheless, man, that should be a very good fight. The funny thing is Jose Aldo plans to fight until he's 40. He plans to fight till he's 40 years old. Now, after his fight with Volkanovski, Jose Aldo was pretty much out the door. He was on a 2-fight win streak prior to losing to Volkanovski. He looked it good. Then he ends up, he was talking about retiring. This is going to be his last fight. But now he seemed to have got a second win. He said he's feeling good. He said he feels like a kid, but with more experience. He said he's faster. He said he feels strong. His stamina's better. He said he's able to go hard sessions and still be able to run a treadmill and things like that after, sparring and things of that nature. He said he used to get tired in training early because he was heavier, but he said he feels great now. He's eating nothing but salad, 2 pounds of salad. He's on a strict diet to make this weight. Jose Aldo, I believe, is 33 years old right now. So he plans on being around for another 7 years, y'all. And then he said, depending on how his run at bantamweight goes, I think if he becomes champion, he may hang him up sooner. If he don't become champion, I don't see him sticking around too long, honestly. I think he just threw that number out there. But he seemed sure of himself that he was going to be around till he's 40. He said he feels good, and he said at this weight class, there would be nobody stronger than him. It's going to be interesting to see if these guys can really give Jose Aldo some good work. But yeah, man, that's all I pretty much got. Jose Aldo is one of my favorite fighters, so I'm pretty biased. I'm not going to lie. He's one of my favorite fighters. Period. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he do in this second phase of his career. Tell me what you guys think. Jose Aldo plans to fight till he's 40 years old, and he is making his bantamweight debut next weekend. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.